Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crossover Podcast. My name is David Shynock. Just to give you some background information, today's podcast is a little bit different in terms of setup and everything else because it's going to be a little bit more off the riff. I didn't plan on doing this tonight. I originally was going to be interviewing a friend of mine for Thursday's episode. Monday's episode on Worlds, basically recapping everything that happened, is now going to be swapped to Thursday, and today is just going to be a little riff based on some current events that I really want to talk about. I don't really know how to preface this other than just to jump right into it. So the owner of Team Envy, or also the Dallas Fuel, Team Envy, Dallas Fuel, and the the Dallas Empire, Hastro, very famously known figure in the Call of Duty community for an extended period of time now, went on a little bit of a Twitter rant today, and I want to address how bad the takes were. So let me just quote him, because I feel like that's going to be the easiest way to do this. Here are the tweets. He said, "People bitching about esports orgs throwing money to buy or sign better players. Well, how else do you expect an esports team to remain relevant? Agreed. That's fine. Hour later. I don't want to be a team owner whose aim is to sell you hoodies and make you watch videos. I want to be a team owner who lets you experience winning. Ask yourself why you cheer for some of these teams who sign big personalities just so they can sell you stuff when you could be an Envy fan and know you will experience W's." I don't want this to come off horribly rude at all, but the whole point of this is for me to talk about current events and hot takes, and I just want to say this take is absolute trash. There's nothing else to say other than this is horrible. So there's several reasons why this is horribly wrong. First, we'll start with the winning, I guess. You've won a few titles in Call of Duty. You won a Counter-Strike Major. That's it. You have won, 3 Call of Duty championships between Envy teams, or 2? Nevertheless, it's not like your winning has amounted to all that much, all things considered. For those of you watching on YouTube, my dog just jumped on my lap, so she'll be a part of the video as well. Envy as a whole is not a winning organization outside of the Dallas Empire for a single year. And by all means, this does not take anything away from Crim6, from Clayster, from anybody associated with any of the players associated with the organization. This is just Hastro. Winning only means something if there's a storyline to go behind it. That's why Optic was so popular. They got popular from the Minecraft series, from losing, from just being entertaining personalities, that you wanted them to win, so that when they did win, it felt even better. Why do you want Envy to win other than just being a long-term Envy fan, which there aren't that many of, because they haven't developed content or entertainment or the fan base or anything else besides that? What? The Dallas Fuel arguably have the largest fan base outside of, or in the entire organization. I'd say they probably have more fans there than actual, Dallas Empire only fans. I don't think that's a stretch to say that. But they have a losing record, so what do they know about winning? Really not much. The most important matchups were, the Dallas Fuel and Houston Outlaws back whenever Hex owned the Houston Outlaws, and the Outlaws won. I don't think the Outlaws ever lost to the Dallas Fuel, if I'm not mistaken. If they did, by that point, I stopped watching. I feel like a majority of people who carried over stopped watching at that point. You want to go back even further. Their LCS team didn't win, and then they got relegated. So it's winning is not everything. Clearly, to address the first part of the statement, to go back to that, I don't want to be a team owner whose aim is to sell you hoodies and make you watch videos. How else are you funding the organization? Winning... the whole point of winning is to then sell merchandise and profit off of it. You're not going to make your money in esports by selling live venue tickets at the moment. Not only due to COVID, but due to the fact that business model has not proven itself yet. So the best way to make money, if you want to be a profitable organization, is to sell merch and content. Which, I guess this goes to the root of Hastro's philosophy as a whole, in that he's never been the content guy. That was always Hex, dating back to whenever both of them were competing at the early stages of Call of Duty. Optic was the content team, Envy was competition first, and look how the crowds turned out. Like, I don't know what else to say on that. Like, it's just bad mentality going into it. He's directing this at 100 Thieves, who are coming into the Call of Duty League with already more fans than the Dallas Empire have. And he's pissed. And by all means, I somewhat get it. I would be envious. I would be jealous as well. But you don't have anybody but yourself to blame here. Like, you chose the strategy that you did. You chose the strategy of winning will bring us fans, and it's not working. Clearly. Like, you were always going to lose to Nadeshot in Call of Duty. If you ever thought that you were going to beat him, that's just dumb mentality in the first place. I would argue the Minnesota Rocker are set up better than the Dallas Empire are in that regard. Like, it makes no, other than just pettiness, it makes no sense to why these comments would be made. He goes on to then say further, I like the term entertainment org. My organization is not quite there yet. However, we are a great esports org and are kicking the hell out of your favorite entertainment org's esports subsidiary. Okay, well, let's do a direct comparison between my favorite esports organizations and subsidiary. NRG. They're not beating them in Rocket League. Neither are in the LCS. They're not in Counter-Strike. Let's see. San Francisco Shocker champions again. I guess the Dallas Fuel aren't beating them there. Call of Duty. Yeah, Dallas Empire won champs. Who's got more fans? I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. Like, it's not even close. Everybody knows that. I'm trying to think if there's any other games. Valorant, I don't know if Envy's in. I'm not as familiar with that scene. But how are you going to come out here and say that you're kicking the hell out of your favorite entertainment org's esports subsidiary? Like, just because you won a few tournaments doesn't mean anything. Like, I just don't... I don't get it. Sorry about the dog bone in the background. Coco's going nuts. Just going through even more of the replies. He said, somebody responded, what about Counter-Strike? We have reserved a larger budget than the previous 3 years for our Counter-Strike team at Envy in 2021. Have a lot of faith that our current roster is going to do well, see improvements. And he acknowledges later, he said, I really started the conversation on my timeline today to let you guys know how committed I am to being competitive and winning events so that our fans can enjoy these moments. We all need to feel the sensation of winning sometimes. That's what I'm trying to give you. I guess that's the best way to summarize this. Winning, again, does not mean anything unless you have the amount of fans and the storyline that goes into it. And there are no storylines within any of the Envy teams that make people want to come back on a consistent basis or attract new fans. That's where entertainment comes in. If Hastro truly wants his organization to be at that level, he has to adopt that model. Otherwise, you can win as much as you want. You're going to be winning for 10% of the fan base that all these other teams have. There's nothing you can do about that. And this relates to the Mr. Beast comments as well that I was seeing on Reddit today. Of Mr. Beast is talking about getting an LCS team as early as not this upcoming year, but the following year. And there were people on Reddit who were saying, I don't know if he's the type of owner that we want. He knows content. What does he know about running a successful organization? The dude runs the most successful YouTube channel out there right now. If you've watched any of his content for more than 2 minutes, it would be really easy to figure out he's got a really good brain on him and knows how to problem solve and knows how to take advantage of different areas. The reason why 100 Thieves got the players that they did whenever they first entered the LCS was because of the clout that they bring. And it was a cool organization to play for. That reputation has since fallen off a little bit. But Mr. Beast won't have many issues. He's surrounded by very good people. He will have the financial backing to do it. He actually understands the game at least a silver or gold level, which 90% of us are. Like, how people can criticize it just because they see somebody rich and successful in one area and not be able to translate that to another section blows my mind. I would get it entirely if Mr. Beast was like, okay, I'm great at YouTube. I'm good at all this. I'm going to enter competitive tap dancing and become the best in the world. That's different. Like, that's an actual physical skill set that we've not been shown any sort of instance to have some sort of inkling or any sort of idea that he will be good at that long term. That you could understandably doubt. That's different than solving how to run a business, which he's basically already doing. He will, I promise you, Mr. Beast enters the LCS in 2 years, which, from the sounds of it, it sounds like the LCS might be expanding, because now with multiple rumors that we've heard, and with Mr. Beast talking about not entering this year but the following year, I've heard that, if NRG were to get in, it would likely not be this year, it would be the following year. It seems like the LCS might go to 12 teams, and those would be the two to get in outside of maybe FaZe. The guy's going to have a phenomenal fan base. And if he sells half the merch that he does on his YouTube channel for his LCS team, and he puts half the effort into the content, which I already know that he will, what else do you have? Like, what else is there to say? It blows my mind how dumb people could be. And that's more excusable because that's Reddit. That's random people saying this. But to bring it back around, to hear Hastro specifically go out of his way to call out these organizations who are more successful, may not win as much, but definitely make more money. Aren't you technically losing even though you're winning? I don't know. Just my thought. I don't want to rant on it too much. I don't want to get repetitive with it. But thank you guys for tuning in to a shorter episode. I know it's only like 13, 14 minutes. I apologize. This next week is going to be really busy for me at work. In private accounting, month close is the first few days after the month ends, where you wrap up the financials of the previous month. That kicks off for me tomorrow. So that is going to consume literally all of my time for a while. So luckily I got everything recorded for this week. You will have an episode out on Thursday talking about World's wrap up and going over everything there. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please drop a like, follow, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next episode. Goodbye.